Alright, hey guys, Mark again. Hey, listen, we're going to put our lower legs, smooth hidden axle lower legs on the stock fork tube. So we took our stock lowers off, and then we're going to assemble it so it's like this. Alright, so we're going to need to install the fender bracket that comes with it. We have fat tire, we have stock placement, we have some extended ones left in stock. The brake bracket's going to come already installed, single or dual disc. I'm doing a dual disc application. You're going to get your fender mount here. It's going to come with a set of studs and nuts. You're also going to get your lock stud for the axle. It goes against the head of this end, not the thread. So on the open end side like this, it goes once you install it, and I'll do a video on the bike installing it, but this goes in there and stops the axle from turning out at the very end. And then you've got an axle cover that goes in that hole and covers it all up. So I usually put the nut on the stud till it stops. So you turn it till it just stops right there. You're going to need I think it's an 1/8 inch, either a little Allen wrench, or if you have a socket, this. Do not over torque these. They don't take a lot of torque. So just minimal torque, okay? Minimal torque. So you just need to snug them up really good. If you over torque them, they're going to spin, they're going to pop off, and you're going to be stuck having to get new hardware, or even worse, drilling one of these holes up. So this rounded side, the rounded tapered side, faces toward the top where the seal goes. It just slides in that groove like that. And then you're going to take that, it fits on there on the end of your Allen, and then you can start them in there. And you want to run them all the way in with your hand. Do not use a drill or a torque drill at this time at all on these. So you're going to run these all four in. Like that. You know, until they're snug with your, just hand turning it, okay? You're gonna have to get a small 1/4 inch socket, 7/16 for these nuts. Then it'll go in there, and you want to, until it's snugged up, and you're kind of going to cross hatch them. So just do it till it snugs up. And then go back and give it a little firm tug, right? Firm, not tight, probably 20, 25 pounds of torque. All right. Now that we've torqued all these to maybe 20, 25 foot-pounds, then we're going to install the inner tube and the seal. So some people will reuse a seal if it's a new bike or low miles. I usually just buy new ones. So you got 49 and 41. So 14 and newer, 13 and down. So this is a 14 and newer. So the stuff you see may not exactly overlay to an older bike, but it's very similar. You're going to need fork oil because you're going to need to reassemble it. I like using 20 weight fork oil. I usually get a little bit on my finger and I put it around the seal to kind of lube it up before we're going to install it. You're going to have your bushing, your washer, your seal, and then your damper cone, your oil stop. That came out of your original fork. You're going to reuse that. So we got two ways of doing this. You're going to have to drive the bushing and seal in. So you can either get a seal driver kit like this. It goes around the fork. Also, if you don't want to buy one, you can make one. This is a 2-inch Schedule 40. you kind of got to get a sander or grinder. You got to taper it so that it easily fits in here without binding. You see how it goes all the way in, does not bind. You can hear it bottoming out. So you have to install the bushing and the seal that way. So this is, for people that don't know, this is the damper valve, and this is the top valve spring. This basically controls when it fully expands how far the fork comes apart. It also controls oil flow and dampening. So this controls oil has to flow through there and come out of these little holes. It slows everything up. So that means the thicker the oil, slower the movement. You know, it'll slow things up. A lot of people use 30 weight on the 23 tree kits for that purpose. So this goes inside here, just dropped in, it's going to come out the bottom. I usually put the cone on it right now. There's a tapered end that's going to face toward the fork. So it goes in like that. And then this slides in until it bottoms out, like that. Again, these are brand new. I would tape them up, protect them. I've got a brand new terry cloth towel, or fiber cloth towel. Just tape them is best, right? I've done it enough. I'm pretty secure, but I always recommend that you do that. You need to have to have a new crush washer and your damper bolt. This came out of the factory forks. So we're going to put this in with our 12 millimeter, the same we used just to take it out. Now what I do is I usually put the stock spring back in there so that I can push against the damper and give it a little pressure. Otherwise it'll want to just sit there and spin inside this fork. So this goes up and in there, and then just get it going, and then it started right now. And then I'm going to hit it with my impact. And that's it for me. I'm done. If you have a ratchet, then you want to, get it till it's real good and snug. And I'll show you both ways. So we're going to do the bushing goes on. It's going to fit down in a groove. Then the washer goes on top. If you use the seal, if you have a seal driver kit, then you can put that on now. And you can do it this way. And then you want to drive that in there till it makes that bottom noise. Pull this off. Now we're going to put the seal. The seal, it's important. Two sides. One you can see like a little spring up in there. The other side you can see numbers, little divots, and it has the part number. Always faces up. If you don't do it that way, it's going to possibly leak. It's going to leak. So you want to very carefully guide this over the fork tube. You don't want to rip it. And then get it in there and get it started with your hand like that. And then I'll show you the other tool. So I've got this. If you want to just make one of these, next thing you do is you want to just drive it in there so you can feel it bottom out. You want to look in there and make sure that it's the seal is down past the clip area for this, and then for your spring clip or your seal clip. Then you're going to put that back on. So you push it in with your finger. And then you want to check it with a screwdriver. You want to make sure it's all the way in, and you make sure it's clipped in the groove. If it's not in the groove, you're going to have trouble down the road because the seal is going to pop out. I usually try to pull it apart like that a couple of times. Make sure everything's together. Just make sure that you can see that it's in the groove. All right, and that's it, really. I mean, that's pretty simple. So now what you're going to do is if you have either factory, if you're going to do factory or air ride, you're going to have to put the oil in. So the oil factory is like 22 ounces each leg, 14 and newer. On the old bikes, it's 13 and down. That's if you're going to put the stock spring back in. So 13 ounces, older bikes, 13 and down, 14 and newer is like 22 ounces. If you're going to do air ride, it's different. So you're going to get a spring and a piston, and then this washer's from your factory forks, and then your air cap. Well, I'm going to put this on the 26 build I'm doing behind me. So you would fill it with oil, put your correct amount of oil in there. You're going to pump it, cycle it, so you don't hear any air bubbles sloshing around in there. You put this spring in there. You're going to have the piston greased up. This big hole right here faces out, and you're going to push it. I'm not going to do it now, but you're going to insert it in, push it in lightly with your finger until you can push it, and you can feel it moving in there. Then you put the cap on it. We've gone to recommending a little bit of blue Loctite on the threads, and that's it, guys. Then you can then we're ready to do the install. Okay. Thanks. Alright guys, back to do the final install of the wheel. We've got our lowers on there, our F49 bagger lowers. They're already installed back in the bike. This is 26 wheel setup. Want to make sure your ABS bearing is facing to the left. You're going to roll the wheel in carefully. Again, recommend taping stuff off, if you're not used to this stuff. We're going to put the ABS wheel bearing in. You want to put the metal side facing out. And then I've got my other wheel. These came out of the stock setup. So we're going to put the stock spacers back in. Got my axle. I've got some grease on it. I put anti-seize on there. So we're going to carefully put it in here, guide it carefully through the axle, or through your bearing, guide it through the other side spacer. And then you want to make sure that the threads line up on the other side. You don't want to force it. You don't want to put any kind of impact gun on it. All right, no impact. We're going to tighten this up like this. It's going to go all the way in. It's going to recess. And then you're going to torque this to 50 foot-pounds. You're going to get a set screw, a little set screw. It goes on the left side only. Blue Loctite on it. You're going to run it in when you're finished. It's on the wheel, and 50 foot-pounds on this. Then when you're done, you got a little axle button cover. It goes in the hole to cover it all up. And that's it. You're all done. All right, thanks guys.